Hello, and welcome to this review of Chapter 1 of A Course of Love, which was named aptly enough, A Course of Love. So it should be no surprise that the first subject we're going to talk about is love. Verse 1 tells us, your recognition of what love is will return you to God and to yourself. Now, this is implying something that we will see very clearly as we progress in this course. What we have thought of as love is not actually what love is. And it's your very ability to recognize love that is going to bring you home and awaken you to what's really going on here and who you actually are. It goes on to remind us that there are really only two feelings. One of them is love, and the other is a lack of love. If you have been a student of A Course in Miracles, that will be very clear recognition. The point to continue with then is that a lack of love is really nothing. A lack of love doesn't actually exist. That's part of the illusion that we have created. So love is really all there is. Love is the only thing that's real. And we're going to explore that a little further. In verse 3, he tells us, love is the condition of your reality. You would not even exist without love. So if we look deeply at that, there's that recognition that, that's the condition of my reality. I must be composed of love. At least I'm resting in love. Whatever is happening here is happening within that force field, that energy field of love. And in verse 4 we're told, God's only thought is love. It is love without limit, endlessly creating. Notice this is not a static thing here. Endlessly creating. Because of the extension of God's thought of love, you exist. I exist with you in this self-same thought. So if we think of God as not being a person in the sky with an embodiment and a personality, because it's so much bigger than that, but being more of an energy, a creative energy that has no limit, that is endlessly creating, endlessly evolving, endlessly thinking. It's because of the extension of that energy that you exist. You then must be an expression, an extension of the energy of love. And notice at the last part of that verse, I exist within you in the self-same thought. And we're not talking about me, the character in this world. We're talking about the person who is dictating this course, who is the one that we call Jesus. Now, he's saying, I exist with you. Notice, not outside of you, not separate from you, with you, in this self-same thought. This thought of creation, endlessly expressing and expanding and evolving. In verse 7, he tells us, you are an immigrant coming to a new world with all your possessions in hand. What a relief to realize you need carry it no more. This is such an apt description for what happens during the length of this course. We really are brought to live in a new world. We stand in a new place. And that's the invitation here, is to leave the old world of suffering behind and to come to the new world. And you don't need the things that you thought you needed in the old world. The first thing that you can just leave out of the whole thing is your worries. You don't need to worry about anything any longer. And the reason why you don't need to worry is because all is exactly as it should be. Neither do you need to bring your fear into this new world. Fear is nothing, as we just learned. But also there's nothing to be afraid of. What is there to be afraid of in love? Another thing you can leave behind, in fact you'll need to drop that, is the effort to teach yourself. We're going to go into that in a little more detail, but up to this point you may have felt like it was your responsibility to get where you need to go, and that effort we're asking you to drop. You can also drop loneliness or aloneness. I don't think anyone feels bad leaving that behind. And the reason why you don't need it anymore is because you're about to see the truth. Not just in an idea, not just in a belief. Yeah, I know I'm connected to everything. But to actually experience your connection means that you're not going to feel alone any longer, and you're going to recognize your connection to everything. So that won't be needed. And your struggle. Just give up the struggle. And again, we'll be going into why you have felt struggle was necessary and why you don't need it any longer. That relates us to the authority problem. And this really is the crux of the issue between the new world and the old world. So this world's goal is to stand on your own and be complete within yourself. We're all striving to do that. We don't want to be codependent. We don't want to have to rely on anyone else. We don't want to be weak. That's the world's goal. I need to be strong. I need to figure this out, and I need to move forward. We think, as defined within the old world, that independence makes us noble and responsible. We think it proves we have control over a world of chaos. Really, if we believe this world to be real, that's the only help we have, is if somehow we can get some kind of control over this mess we're in. And as a result, this has created a hell. The question, why has this created a hell? It seems only natural, if you believe in this world, that you want to get some kind of control over it, control over your life, control over yourself, make sure it goes correctly. And the answer is that your attraction to struggle and independence is actually your desire to display your individual stamina, strength, and cunning. That's why you created a world where you had the freedom to try to stand on your own, because you wanted to have the experience of feeling separate. The problem with this is you're not your own creator, and no amount of effort can change that truth. No matter how badly you want to be your own creator, no matter how badly you want to stand on your own and be independent and be your own source, it's not possible. So we're asked to recognize that and give up that goal. Not to become a weak little sheeple, but to actually remember who we are. And in remembering the truth of who we are, I assure you, there is far more joy and far more peace, and it's the recognition of who you are and where you actually are. It's the dropping of the illusory world. In verse 9, this wanting to do things on your own is a trick of the ego. your pride a gift the ego demands. Now this part's a little challenging. Hang in there. A true leader follows until she is ready to lead. She does not strike out on her own at the beginning, before she knows the way. There is no shame in following the course another has put forth. So now what's being introduced here is the fact that within our current status, within how we perceive the world right now, we don't know the way out. There's no one who has ever walked this earth who has known the way out on their own. So what we're being told here is you need to follow until you know the way. So in order to follow, you have to surrender yourself as your own authority. And I'm talking here about the self that you think you are. Once you're reminded, once you remember who you are, things shift a little bit. But until you get to really be in touch with that memory, you need to follow. Verse 9, the only way you can fail to learn the truth is to demand to learn it on your own. There you have it. How important is it to you to continue the world that you've created and continue in your mental processes, your perception, your righteousness, your I've got this figured out independence? That is how you will fail to learn the truth. So we're not talking about a new belief system here, and this is really important. We're talking about the truth. We're looking for the truth. In fact, if your only goal is to find out what's true, you will find out. You will get there. So everything that's laid out in this course is just pointing the way for you to see the actual truth of your experience, not a belief system, not what you're told. It's just pointing the way for you to find out what's true. So then we have to ask, who is it that's asking to be your teacher? Well, we know that this course was dictated by Jesus. I know a lot of people, myself included, have some conditioned responses to the personality of Jesus because of what our culture has done with that concept and with that character. So I want to reassure you at this point that the person who is it's not a person, the energy that is asking to be your teacher, one, is not outside of you. With that recognition, that should help. This is one who is calling to you from love. Okay? It's coming from a loving place. That's its only goal. And it's one whose voice will rise from within you. You will hear this voice from within, and then you will recognize, oh, that's not separate from me. I'm not this separated individual over here, and Jesus is a separated individual over there. It's the recognition of the oneness with that teacher. And when that is recognized, there can be no threat. Even if you can't come to that point, I would ask that you just bring yourself to a point of neutrality. Just rest in the idea that maybe this energy of Jesus is different from what I've been led to believe so far. Maybe I don't know who that is or was. Maybe what I've been told isn't exactly correct, or what I've perceived isn't correct. If you can just bring yourself to that neutral point, you'll be fine. Verse 10, you cannot learn what I would teach you without me. You have tried in countless ways and can still try again, but you will not succeed because it is impossible. It is only through union with me that you learn, because it is only in union with me that you are yourself. Boy, there's a big clue right there. This is part of yourself who's calling to you. Part of yourself. And if you can think of it in that way and open your heart and open your mind to being guided by this energy, you can see what's actually true. But you can't do it alone. You've tried it and tried it and tried it, and you're welcome to try it as long as you like, but the sun is waking up. And if you're feeling like you're ready to give up, surrender the separated self that you've created, then there is one here who's going to show you the way. Woohoo! So in verse 15, we're told, this is what you made the world for. To prove your separate existence in a world apart from your Creator. This world does not exist, and you do not exist apart from your Creator. Your yearning for love is what tells you this is so. It is the proof you do not recognize. So there it is, clear as a bell. We created this world to have the experience of being separate. Even though it's not possible, we picked the one thing that isn't possible. But nevertheless, we were able to create the experience of feeling separate. But it's not real. It's just something that we created. Kind of like, I always think of those holograms in the Star Trek. So we don't exist apart from our Creator. And how do you know? Because you yearn for love. I don't care who it is. They always want love. Love is really the objective in everything that we do. And it's that yearning for love that lets you know that you don't exist apart from your Creator, because your Creator is the energy of love. It's what you're made of. Verse 18, this is all there is. This is the world you make. This world was created by your choice. And a new world can be created by a new choice. And there you are at the threshold. If you're willing to make a new choice and willing to see the truth, see things as they really are, let go of the world of illusion, your little willingness to do that is all that's asked in order for you to actually see, not believe it in some kind of a system where you process whatever happens, but to have the direct experience and the direct knowing of who you are and what's going on here. So thank you for joining us for this review, and I look forward to talking with you again soon.